We are back on your screens. Good morning, Ghana. Good morning, Africa. It's a wonderful Monday morning. I'm here with them, the two beautiful ladies. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Right,
it's a beautiful
I always
Monday.
love to be around you, particularly on a Monday. Gives you that energy to move on.
We love to be around
definitely.
you too. Certainly a team. Anyway, good morning, Ghana. Thank you once again for joining us here on New Day. But you don't see Johnny in short because Johnny is off for some time, so he'll be away. But he will come back.
I know
certainly.
where he is.
Because people will start asking, so we have to let you know ahead of time.
No.
You want to tell them?
No, yeah. It's not. No, Johnny is in charge. In fact, he's the head of a committee that is expected to see to the betrothal, the marriage, the consummation, the outdooring of Mary. And so he had to take some 10 days to arrange all that.
Right.
I see. I hear he's also an MC, right?
Yeah, he's also going to
But
MC.
it takes 9 months for Mary to keep that baby.
No, don't worry. This is something that has some spiritual backing, so it can be done in 10 days. Okay. So that's why he's been away for 10 days. And he's going to do all that and ensure that exactly on 25th, Mary gets her baby so that we can begin the process.
Right, you know something.
So he won't be here.
Right, Christmas story.
Good morning. Good morning. Seriously, if there's anything I miss, it's just these banters in the morning where we get to not just educate our viewers, but also entertain them a little bit, make their morning, let them start off their Monday and every other day right. And that's why we're here.
And she has all the news from Africa,
definitely do.
beyond the rest of the world, everywhere where there is news. She's always there every morning right here on New Day. So the package is going to be exciting. A morning to get you up out of your bed and onto the street to be productive. We'll have all the newspapers, the stuff that will make your Monday morning, the beginning of the week, a great one, is all packaged in one here. We're getting over the Kumaka issue. I guess the ECG issue too is getting a bit quiet, even though yesterday we were told there were some few customers still at the project office. We're hoping that as we hit Christmas proper, we'll have all these things sorted out so we can enjoy.
You know, usually Monday mornings the newspapers seem to be boring, but today they have quite
exciting,
different, and so certainly you hear from us when we come to headlines.
All right.
I'm definitely going to ask this. I mean, I just briefly chanced on the issue about Sudan and them saying, and I heard what you said, that the women in trousers, they were being indecent.
Well,
why are you laughing like that?
I'm laughing, but no, that's a law, okay?
It
but
is
the point is, who was to change the law there? Is it really decent to wear trousers? This morning,
the argument
my small
would
girl
go out and out.
wore trousers, and then I looked at her and I said, well, you're not in Sudan.
So it's fine, you can go.
Okay, so,
but I mean,
is it really a matter of decency?
Well, I think with most people, some Jehovah's Witnesses, some SDAs, Deeper Life, Spoken Word, and a few other, churches have believed that besides one, the trouser is not for women. Two, that it kind of hugs out your entire body. It kind of shows all the curves and the bumps, and even to the extent, and I'm sure you've witnessed it, some part of the the pubic area would be protruding in times like so. Even with a lot of people who wore it, they would probably maybe wear something longer to just cover up all those parts. But at the end of the day, it's basically about what people believe is right or wrong as to what, like you said, but in Sudan it's more like a law, but here it's not. It's more of preference.
And I hear there's even a police in Sudan responsible.
But I think most of them,
Islam countries, where I find very difficult because
a lot of them.
Those, I mean, gone are the days where even Muslims were not wearing trousers because of what they believe. But nowadays you see younger Muslims who have moved away from that, and they're wearing all manner of things. And it comes to Christians of all sorts. I think the basis is decency for you. How you define what is decent, because you see people who have skirts that are worse off than the trouser.
True.
So for me, it's all doesn't. I mean, it doesn't gel.
So Solace, if the trousers, it's not that one that hugs the button
and it's loose
and it's quite big.
What we call togas.
Togas.
I think generally that one, generally that one is not, because then they would say, okay, they are probably worried that when the wind blows, it won't go up.
But who made trousers for men?
Exactly. Where
Well,
did it even
because
come from?
primarily, no, if you look at the history of trousers, it started for men.
That was in the
not for
Bible.
women.
That was in the age where, I mean, like,
even the Elizabethan era, trousers were not
but
for
I'm
men,
talking
for
about
women.
if you come
So
from the
it
religious
evolved.
perspective. It came because, I mean, traditions in the Bible were such that women will wear longer gowns and then, you know, cover up everything. Just like how maybe in Ghana we'll say akitesia, you want to hide everything. And so, yes, that was the, but things moved.
It makes you look smarter when you're in there.
I really think so.
Particularly at the office where you need to walk up and down and get things done.
And even in the hospitals where you have to be bending over and opening, you know, sitting in awkward positions and all that. Sometimes it's more convenient for the situation.
I
But
think when
anyway,
guys do wear the shorts, people are the ladies are worried.
Oh,
about
definitely, you will be worried about that because you, I think you need to be an ambassador for men in shorts. But that's just by the way. Let's do some stories from the world of politics, business, health, education, of course, the weather. Good morning once again. Many thanks for staying with us. My name is Solace Rose Quote, and this is Morning News on TV3. Let's start off with a trending health issue. And the Ministry of Education has contracted Oscarpa Ventures to carry out a fumigation exercise at the Kumasi Academy following recent deaths in the school. Now, the exercise, which began on Sunday, December 10, comprises general and viral fumigation, which will be climaxed with an intensive cleanup exercise on December 12.
The exercise will also cover 8 houses, 8 dormitories comprising 99 rooms, 45 classrooms, the science laboratory, the dining and assembly halls, the kitchen, lavatories and the sick bay of the school. Majority of the students have left the school for their various homes, leaving less than 50 students. The contractor in charge of the exercise and Chief Executive Officer of Oscarpa Ventures, Oscar Apple, said his outfit will ensure the exercise will be effective since the team is committed to fumigating every corner of the school. He indicated that general fumigation will cater for insects such as bedbugs and cockroaches, while the viral fumigation will also cater for virus and bacteria.
Once we are using the right kind of chemical, we know that we are still on the job. We are giving the assurance that students on Kumasi Academy campus will be safe, because we know the chemicals are going to work on whichever virus or bacteria that might have found themselves on campus.
Jose Apple said although the chemicals used for the exercise are dangerous, the fumigated areas will be habitable after a period of 2 hours. School authorities are urging parents to bring back their wards for vaccination to prevent further spread of the disease.
Now, still on health and education, the education sector, the New Jobbing Municipal Health Directorate has confirmed a second-year science student of Keforidia Senior Technical School has died of cerebrospinal meningitis. Dennis Achampong, 16, died on December 7, 2017 at the Keforidia Central Hospital.
According to the senior housemaster of the school who spoke off camera, the student took ill 3 weeks ago and was taken to the hospital and died a day after. During a telephone conversation with the news team, the Municipal Disease Control Officer, Dino Hinedu, said the New Jobbing Municipal Health Directorate visited the school on Saturday morning to educate students and teachers on the disease. She says students have been asked to immediately report sudden high fever, severe headache and vomiting to the healthcare facility. She cautioned students to avoid overcrowded places, avoid direct contact with people, sneezing and coughing, allow adequate ventilation.
Now, the police in Accra have begun investigations into the murder of an old student of the University of Ghana, specifically Commonwealth Hall. Meanwhile, the suspected killer is also in the grips of the police, assisting in the investigations.
The incident reportedly occurred around 6 p.m. Saturday, December 9, at the charging grounds in the Commonwealth Hall. It reportedly started as a mere argument between the deceased and the alleged killer in the Old Vandals bars after a funeral at Amahia, Accra. The argument became heated, compelling the driver to drop the two off at Atomic Junction after attempts to separate them were not successful. But the two reportedly followed up to the Commonwealth Hall, and it was at this time that a killer allegedly grabbed a knife from a kebab seller to stab the deceased severally. The victim was rushed to the Legon hospital by the suspect and some vandals, but couldn't survive. The suspect was later arrested by the police, who have begun investigations into the circumstances leading to the stabbing and eventual death. Meanwhile, the leadership of Old Vandals Association has extended condolences to the family of the deceased and called on all to remain calm whilst the law enforcement agencies investigates their death.
Now to some mental health issues, officials of the Pantine Hospital are calling for urgent intervention to redeem their facilities from total collapse. Acting Director of the hospital, Dr. Kwejo Mafo Obing, says lack of maintenance is leading to the deterioration of structures.
Infrastructure at the Pantine Hospital continues to cry for help. Pantine Hospital was originally designed to be a one-stop for mental health care. Structures on these premises are in bad shape due to lack of maintenance over the years. Walls have developed various degrees of cracks and the roofs leak whenever it rains. Management of the hospital lamented governmental neglect as major constraint. Acting Director of the hospital, Dr. Kwejo Mafo Obing, told TV3 the facility is facing numerous challenges that needed urgent attention.
Yeah, we have leaking roofs, so places that were housing patients, and then there's leaking happening there. The wards, a number of them need painting. They are not as pleasant as they should be, and if you're suffering from a mental illness and you're looking to recover, you need pleasant environments. But we have this problem with the financing. We have several infrastructural problems as well. Our buildings are old, they're getting tired, they're getting damaged.
Dr. Mafo Obing acknowledged private individuals and groups' role in keeping the facility going. The United Pentecostal Church International joined the list of benefactors for adopting the 31-bed Ward 9. Deputy General Superintendent of the church, Reverend Joseph Asari, again presented assorted food, drink and toiletries to the staff and inmates towards the Christmas festivity.
Still on health, the Nkranza municipality has recorded 99 infant mortality cases from January 2014 to 2017. Now, Municipal CHIPS Coordinator Samson Addo added the municipality also recorded 16 maternal deaths within the same period. Johnson Techi has more.
Samson Addo, the Nkranza Municipal CHIPS Coordinator, attributed the high maternal and infant mortality cases to inadequate health facilities and limited health personnel.
You only have 3 physician assistants, and then until recently that we had up to 15 midwives, but then these are wholly inadequate. If you are able to get more qualified personnel, I think we will be able to record 0, which is our main objective.
He said poor roads leading to referral hospitals triggered the unfortunate deaths, which could have been prevented or reduced drastically. The in charge of the Sagwa CHIPS compound, Janoni Vector, called on authorities to provide adequate power supply to store drugs.
We need to store vaccines here. And even some of the drugs that are going to be used for the case, like suppositories, all need to be in the same fridge. So without lighting system, it's going to be a problem.
The news team saw a lot of women trekking to seek health care due to the bad nature of the road. To alleviate the plight of residents, MP for Nkranza South Charles Konedu and MCE Dinah Atakusiwa has donated health equipment valued at 50,000 Ghana cedis to 4 CHIPS compound in the municipality.
Looking at our area here, I think road network and electricity extension is what we are looking forward to. You don't have the fund aside, but this is what we intend to do whenever we have any funds.
Now, away from that, a member of parliament from the majority side, Alex Apenyo Markin, wants the government to be bold and introduce specific taxes to raise more money to sustain the free SHS policy. Now, the MP for Efutu believes sustaining the policy was critical to improving education in the country, and imposing a special tax to fund it will not be out of place.
The free SHS policy was attacked at inception. Critics have raised concerns about its sustainability. The implementation has been characterized with inadequate logistics, including furniture. The minority has described the over 1 billion budgetary allocation to the free SHS as woefully inadequate. Responding to these issues, MP for Efutu Alex Afenyomakin said it will not be out of place to introduce taxation as a safe funding source to sustain the policy.
Where tax is imposed and the people know specifically what the tax is being used for, it ceases to be a nuisance tax. The issue of the utilization of such funds in its very transparent manner will be very critical. And to me, I think that's what Ghanaians would want.
Alexander Afenyomakin disagrees with people who think these issues should have been considered before the policy was rolled out.
At the time we were asking for independence, did we have all the human resources and all the facilities to run our own government? But you needed to take a step. In setting up your business, must you have everything available before you take a step and you grow? The bold step has been taken.
He alluded to the health insurance levy as one thing that has sustained the National Health Insurance Scheme, and cautioned against the risk of collapsing the free SHS like SADA and other social interventions that were financed with loans.
Don't let us lose our memory on SADA. We borrowed at a compound interest. It failed. We paid interest. If we want to give education to our children, and we say that, look, one way to look at it and sustain it and to make all the facilities available would be to pinch ourselves a little more by introducing specific taxation to sustain this. Would you say that it is too much for us?
Now, farmers in Osuwim in the Shai Osudoku district of the Greater Accra region are proposing the institution of national pricing of farm produce. Now, they believe the initiative would make farming more attractive and get those already in it to be more serious to boost the economy.
Bad roads, lack of farm inputs and chemicals, post-harvest losses and many other challenges have been the bane of agriculture in Ghana. Farmers in Osuwim are not new to them. Additionally, lack of control and fixed pricing has left farmers at the mercy of middlemen. In Osuwim and Osudoku, over 40% of the population are into farming. Some are also into animal rearing, with several animals on large scale. Emmanuel Tay Amponsa is a 45-year-old farmer who has been into large-scale farming for 20 years. He wants government to support farmers with more farming implements and find a common fixed price and find a common or a fixed prices for farm produce.
To buy a tractor now is not easy. If he can help us to get a tractor, we need it. Maybe if we can pay small too, he can help us. And our dam too, if we get a dam, sometime we no get rain. So if we get a big dam, that one too can help us.
Now, driving on the Eastern Corridor Road has become a nightmare for drivers. Now, Peter Kwao Adata reports the deplorable nature of the road has compelled most drivers to divert their routes, leaving a few who do so at the peril of their lives.
This is what has become of the infamous Eastern Corridor roads. Accidents, vehicular breakdowns and other challenges are common on this stretch. This truck reportedly capsized nearly 2 weeks ago after it attempted to force its way through the mud here. It took them 3 days to fix it at Hohway. The other truck also developed mechanical faults after struggling out of the mud. No driver has had it easy plying the Eastern Corridor roads. Yet attempts by the driver unions to draw attention of officials is reportedly being resisted by the local authorities.
I think it's a big problem to the town. In the first place, if the district assembly should let the government know that this is the problem cars are facing, so that the government can turn its attention to them and solve this very problem.
All attempts to organize demonstration against this hardship have not been successful. The local authorities warned that would go against ongoing plans to get Jasikan to be the new regional capital. The Bupe Road is not accessible now. Eastern Corridor is in a terrible state. These are the issues to consider, not new region. They should fix the road and stop bothering us with creation of new regions.
Rain or shine, the Eastern Corridor Road is a danger to motorists. This Niger-bound cargo truck lost its balance near Todome in the North Dane district on Tuesday. The goods had to be offloaded before any attempts at working on the track. Residents along the stretch are outraged about what they called abject neglect.
This road has been the talking point for many decades until former President Mills took the initiative. Even that, many years passed without any fruitful outcome. The present situation of a total recall of the contractors is heartbreaking, to say the least.
The contractors on the Hohway-Jasikan stretch are equally disappointed. They appeal to government to fast-track resolution of whatever is impeding the completion of the road.
Now to some of the stories. The electricity company of Ghana would from today, Monday, the 11th of December, start replacing prepaid cards free of charge to customers who have either misplaced or destroyed theirs. Only customers at Dansoman, Kanishi, Achimota and Kolebu who have been affected by the system failure would benefit from the exercise.
After a week of chaos and confusion to serving customers, the Electricity Company of Ghana appears to have resolved its problems and have since yesterday been serving customers without any difficulty. Although Sunday not a working day, workers of ECG were at post to serve customers since the problem was rectified Friday evening.
Okay, what we did was that we had all the cards brought in here to the district. So we worked on them, and the customers are coming to the district to have them picked. You saw people sitting there. They pick their cards from there. They come in here to buy, and then they go home.
As at 2 p.m., majority of the customers had been served.
After 2 o'clock, after church, I'm at the same time.
Between yesterday Saturday and today Sunday, close to 1,000 ECG customers here at Dansoman have already been served. But then there are still others, as you can see behind me, who are still waiting to be served because they are having peculiar problems with their meters. Apparently, some had been visiting the place since yesterday upon a call from operators that all problems had been resolved, but they have still not been served.
When I brought my card, they checked and said the card is faulty, it's inactive. So we should wait here for a while. I think they have arranged for transportation for us to go and check whether it's the fault of the meter or the card itself.
The district manager, Tamara Bano, explained measures have been put in place to resolve the problem for such customers.
There's a date and time problem. It's an error on the meter, so we'll rectify that at the house.
However, Some business owners who lost their prepaid cards through the process have had to resort to generator to sustain their business. Engineer Samwa of the Electricity Company of Ghana says all those people have been factored into their replacement plan, which begins Monday.
It's not that they've lost the cars are still with us. We've worked on them, we've corrected them. But they didn't write their name, they didn't write their telephone numbers, they just put the cars in the envelope. Now we've worked on the cars. We cannot identify whose cars are these. So what we have decided is that we'll give them fresh cars at our cost.
We were told some shops which would have been open today have been shut because of the system failure. Interestingly, while some lost out due to the lack of credit, others had their light on even when they were not operating.
And that's all for morning news here on TV3 with me, Solace Rose Corte. Many thanks for staying with us. New Day returns shortly after this. Good morning.
Well. Spicing your morning up with something gospel there. That's a great guy.
Joe Metal and
Joe
Luigi
Metal.
McLean giving you Bononi. Only God. Anyway, it's time for headlines now. Let's start off with the Finder. It says, CDD wants president to fight corruption now or forget about Ghana beyond aid. Also, nurses cautioned against using phones during working hours. Tamale is to face water challenges due to Naomi Sand winning activities. And then government also is working to contain and prevent H1N1 spread. That's coming from Vice President Dr. Baumia. And then finally, government is working with WHO to fight the swine flu.
Okay, so let's start with the nurses who are being told not to use phones while at work. It's an issue that I guess real work has to be done. I think that it shouldn't just stop at cautions here and there. It's a big deal. Look, just when this ECG crisis, and that's even not with the nurses, just when this ECG crisis started, I wanted to find out what's really happening at the various vending shops. So I walked into one of them, and for 5 minutes, the lady was on phone, and so talking to the person and trying to answer me at the same time. And so I made him finish, and I asked her, what was she doing on the phone? Was she speaking to ECG officials at the main head office or what? And she felt offended, but I just gave it to her and left.
Right.
Okay, so it's a real big deal, and I'm imagining nurses who are at work and patients are coming in, emergency situations, and they're on their phone. Sometimes there are certain phones call that when you pick, it is difficult to drop the call immediately. If it is a friend, and it's just one of these jokes, you can just say, hey, I'm going to call you back. But if you're taking some kind of information, sometimes it is difficult to cut it and attend to the person who's in front of you. So I think that they should not be only cautioned, find a way to stop them from using. That's what I think about it.
I couldn't agree more with you, but I'm happy you also extended it not only to nurses, but to the entire corporate world. Because sometimes you go to an office and, Brad, you're sitting there for like minutes and you're just looking into the person's face, hoping they will actually drop that call and attend to you. And you can tell, you and I can hear the conversation, so you know it's not official.
It's not official.
It's something that could let go. And really, it's not something that will kill you if you didn't pick. You are at work. There are just a few hours designated for work. After that, you go home and you can return all these calls. I personally hardly pick phone calls unless it's an emergency at work. And so, I mean, sometimes people will say, oh, we called you, we are even in the hospital, wanted to see you. And I'm like, unfortunately, I don't touch my phone because I know it's just, say, 8 hours I'm coming to spend. It won't kill me if I do my work and then after take care of whatever other business there was. If it's an emergency, that would certainly will be one off. And when you stop doing it, once you don't make it a habit, and then one time we see you on the phone, everyone will assume then that it's an emergency. It's something that really needs attention. And certainly, we don't want bad names for our nurses or health professionals. So let's all move away from this, and generally to all corporate bodies. But also, government says they're working with WHO to fight the swine flu. And so hopefully, it won't spread beyond Kumaka. That I'm happy to hear. But
I have not read the full details of the story, but I am thinking that once again we are going back into the talk shop thing. Okay, Now, the fact on the ground is that students of Kumaka had just ended an inter-schools competition where I am sure they have come into contact with several other schools, students from several other schools. We also know that at the 60th anniversary speech and prize giving day, a whole school was opened to the public. We don't even know how many people went in there. Again, when the issue got to the peak, you saw the gates of a school totally open. People just moving in and out. I wasn't there, but I saw the pictures on TV3. Students, people who live close by, well-wishers, everyone moving in and out. So if we are working with the WHO to deal with the swine flu, what kind of work are we engaged in? We are told that this swine flu can hide for as long as possible and get out at the appropriate time. There was a huge funeral in Kumasi when the Kumaka issue broke out. Certainly, there were people who might have gone into the school and gone to the funeral grounds at the same time. What is being done? So, working with the WHO is great, but down here, are we really on top of it? You saw the fumigation yesterday. Those are all attempts to deal with it. Is it something that will yield results? Or in the next few months, we might hear some outbreak somewhere, which can be linked to what has happened at Kumaka. So we are working, but let us see real work, not the plenty talk.
Anyway, but WHO's main role in tackling this, swine flu is to get vaccines for us, Ghana, to be able to vaccinate those who have come into contact or those who actually are showing symptoms of the swine flu. So yeah, maybe
but do we know those who have come into contact?
Certainly, our contact tracing. We don't know all the details. We hope our public health officials are on top of that. GHS, we hope they're working.
I heard the majority leader in Parliament and the minority chief whip saying that they were at the 60th anniversary and they were even trying to crack a joke about whether they shook hands or not. Several hands were shook that day. So who and who might have spread infection? How do we find them? I'm told that teachers are being asked to identify students that they know by phone so that it could be done. But so let us see real work being done. Other than that, we'll get into next year, and if we're not lucky, we might see this happening again. Yeah.
Anyway, let's also do something from Daily Statement. It says, President Akufo-Addo among 2017 most influential Africans. Also, Tamale Stadium has been renamed Aliyu Mahama Sports Stadium in honor of the late ex-vice president. Also, Atachia Wild at Aaron Flagstaff House appointee. And then finally, government moves to tackle pre-mix diversion. This premix issue.
It's a big deal. Reading the story, the team or the task force to tackle the diversion is okay. We're told that some OMCs have been banned because they are involved in it. That's good. Landing beach committees, we're told, have also been affected by the move. But you see, the problem still remains. For me, the problem is that this premix thing down there is being handled by political activists. Exactly. It is not only under the NPP. Under the NDC, it was the same. There were political activists, party constituency chairmen, chairwomen, organizing secretaries were those who were handling these premix distribution. They are quickly able to divert it. Now, I have always maintained, and anybody should prove to me that the police commander in the various districts of this country, look, the party constituency or the party constituency chairman or chairperson is more powerful than the district police commander.
Certainly.
Okay, and I'm saying it because they're able to influence these police commanders to act in a way that is not professional. Now, we're told that the committee that is supposed to look at this has some policemen on it, and I'm like,
what are they?
It will not yield any results. A district police commander going to tell a party constituency chairman that, hey, why are you doing this? It doesn't happen.
He literally is going to
Okay,
lose his job.
we can sit in our offices and say that, oh, he's the district police commander, he has powers. I tell you, on the ground, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, so in as much as the committee to monitor and track people who are doing wrong is concerned, let us make sure that those who are handling the distribution down there are not party people.
Yeah.
Other than that, hey, we can do all we can. We will not get to this. And look, some time ago, why did we have premix colored? It was to stop this, and yet it is going on. Okay, we put tracking devices on the tracks. It is still going on. No, so as long as party people are involved, they will divert it. The police can't investigate because he's the constituency chairman of the party in power. He won't do it. Else he get transferred to another country, another part of the country far away.
Exactly, and that's why I'm worried when the story was even carried, because it seems when, the ministry spoke, they seem to have mentioned the same things that have been done in the past that haven't yielded results.
Exactly.
And so certainly I agree with you when you say it's the team that, the people who make up the team that cause the issues. And until we look at changing that, then we're still going to be dealing with these over and over and over again. But at the end of the day, it's the fishermen who suffer because they don't get the premix to work. And that certainly, I don't know, the fishermen always come up, aggrieved, and they come up with their issues. But they also, could they seemingly form a team which would, liaise with MPA and sort of directly get the fuel from them? Can we, take away the middlemen when it comes to these fishermen issues? Because we've done the same thing over and over again, and we're expecting the same result. We'll definitely get the same result until we decide to change our minds on how to work about it. But
let's see how it's but former Vice President Aliu Mahama gets his name on the Tamale Sports Stadium. Good to honor our heroes whilst they are gone, but as we keep saying, let us honor them whilst they are alive, so that at least they feel the impact. Don't let us wait till they are gone. Great now at Aliu Mahama Sports Stadium, no more the Tamale Sports Stadium. I watched part of the process. It was quite a good, exciting thing there for the people of Tamale, and kudos to the government for doing that. Let's give them all the honor due them before they go.
Certainly. Let's do a last one from Daily Heritage. It says, tension looms at hospitals. Registered nurses and midwives angry over levy, and they threaten court action. Also, yarn sellers are to stage naked demonstration. Then Shai Osudoku MP launches cooperative union. And then finally, GES consoles parents of Kumaka students.
What is it about the nurses? The levies and the deductions, they were not involved in the taking of that decision, or what happened?
Exactly, that's what they said. According to them, the leadership at the 16th Biennial Delegates Conference required 2/3 of their 109 delegates to form a quorum to take such a decision. But the decision was taken without a quorum. And so according to him, beginning January 2018, their dues will be increased from 1.5% of their basic salary to 2%, while their building levy also moves from 10 to 20 cedis.
But isn't it a straightforward issue? If indeed the decision was taken without a quorum, then they can't hold.
Exactly, it shouldn't hold.
If you're going to court, guess is a right thing. I mean, either someone has done something wrong, and so they just go back to Congress, and if it can be rectified.
And the main issue is you give out these prices, but some people pay, others don't pay. It's just like our taxes. But at the end, you keep increasing it, and it's only those who pay who will suffer. So they are also issuing, an advice that why don't you make sure everyone is paying, and then maybe these increases will not be necessary. But anyway, we hear from them.
I guess the health minister
as the story
will need
unfolds.
to take a look at it.
Yeah, certainly. But it's time to rant, and we're talking about culture, the Ghanaian culture. Over the past weeks, we've been joining the Asante man as they mourn the late Asante Hima. But we're asking, is it a fuss? Are they fussing over their culture? Really, is there something to be celebrated? Are traditions overplayed, or are they what they really are?
Well, let's join George and his team. They'll be talking about it, what exactly they have on their chest on Daily Rant.
What are we talking about today?
Okay, today I want to talk about the state of the economy. Yeah.
State of the economy. All right, peeps, so join him and I on this show, The Rant, a new day.
Daily Rant.
Daily Rant, I got it right. Daily Rant, New Day on TVC3.
Yeah, TV3.
Yeah. On TV3. You are not nice. On TV3. Join us on this show, Daily Rant, New Day on TV3.
Yeah.
We rock.
Yeah.
Right.
We are in the land of gold, precisely at Santiman, and it's the second largest region in Ghana with an area of 24,889 kilometers square. Trust me, I'm yet to meet anyone who boastfully brags about his or her tradition more than my colleague Adra Amofa. She will not even give you the breathing space to talk about yours. There's also Osepoku who boastfully will tell you that they've got their own president and king at the same time. And so let's talk about their Santiman tradition. Is it a real beauty or a fast? Welcome to Daily Rant.
Well, sanity is different from other regions, you know. In Tamaman there, and it is so. It became a Asante region. Yeah.
Open here no credit. Me I got something me Santini. Me now me bomb once after me Santina. Me need to make papa because region me free mono. A bomb be me will be a me got me Santini be a manage. Your coach I be a dem so con Ghana. Asante region there. Ghana Asante region ni hard yanka be because mother, you be bia ma obi ani je wo Asante region. Me dem ya particular dem say Ghana dey ni tini Asante region. San me.
Uja kwa capital no wa.
Awurade wo fa hey epubada ha ke aje ho wo fa jage aje ho ma mo twes ka ma ba hwe
say abro mo wa
mo no ho mo ne wo fa jai
mo le ba mo di we odwan
on the lake kwa ya sibari odu e ba ju ska na wako ezo ensio ti Asante je do fa ya mamre na e bibia ye mpanyimfo na ya na me boy ye mpanyimfo na ba se e Asante fo because o me ne je ye tutu kwa kakara owura bebi na ka so Asante a ufiri kuma se afi na ehu say yes na Ghana hankasa no in particular no bibia because bia metima ka say upon say nkran capital but kuma se e different from other regions no
the Asante memran dey aye kama because we hwe emlofo no kura no a omani je ye kocha na ye no because no amekọ ahimfi ho no no utim se emlofo no omani je ho bi kura utim fada uta no mu bom no omo ye omo so kọ omo dey kọ mamu akwa kosua bi afa ye Asante memran na ye no because ya dia ye kama wo nam kwara de ho ho se we ye Asante ni samdi o ma idea me so kakra me so de me ka fa ho no
Madam Fubo be friend Osepoku me ye sure so hwe me na ko SS na university ose mu own president and mu hene me woni say like too much the bia den
and okra na we kan kanye kan yanka kra na aya hina wote so kra na ya de yanka to no ma yi kra na ka president kra kan Ghana Asante region kan kan to aba because anko no be there so anko because ono be twine bibia wa hanom but enam say entutuye ne hihye na eno man get tibi na dey ha you say that anka Asante region kan to aba nanka other regions no omo some president yes
okay kakra me so my can is the Asante sumbo Ghana ha nyina because o hwe Ghana ha o pese we a different tribe no a different tribe kasa be kan den Asante twi said be ya munyina mo betima atiase it I think say Asante twi is better language in this Ghana
yeah pret ofa eno ye mfandifo na better tran na munya asa de no on say the whole Ghana I grow kumasin kwani baby akọ hu sa region Asante leta mozizongo we e chese ye do ye ho na ye ne president ne ye ne hena because ye ne hena no de me hu ni say Ghana ha ne de me nim na other regions for my ahenie no ye de beto ye na na de nim si ahenie ne de ye ntoto na se na Asante fo so do amamre because ye ahenie ne baby free be si so ne hwe sikadwa kofi baby free ba ye ne ade na am say the whole Ghana crime say the whole world crime say me hu bi da say sikadwa free soro aba ma be si wo hene bi na so bi sida iti ye ahenie ne ade de ofa ntoto na se me akaza to ofa one time bi me kaza me so me kwa akra na me ofa mo me kwasrom na anti mami bi ofio no bisa me ni bi komisi free kumase bla mami ne kwadwo so kwa na aloko no pono are o se Asante fo de chese me mbisa za de o se de o sure me anti ye nya basa because ye ne dene bibie woni Santini kase wo te wodi an nche so wajim wodi ni hodi no ofo madwen ti Asante ne de bra wo ye Santini na na ma wan kasa wo ne je ho ya mpifo so bisa na because ku opoku are because ku prempe wan kase because ku sire obi nka ni nyina sa because ku ha na kwa Nkrumah University wonte se me ko hene we ne ba wo nka
mo ka Legon nyina University of Ghana
Legon de se wo nim se won kan capital na so sire se bi wo na so wonte se ye bodini oh na me kra me ti kuma se ba ntema na me te asafo na me didi wa ha na me yese ensem bebrebe wo fa
ye de enu se ye hene ene ye de ye no ye so mo no ye so mo bi a because hwe de asema ye hene be ka no ye fo ne so because o ka say hwe se ade ye o ka say ene obi a enko edwem ba wo mo ka sa no afi kire o sa ka say obi a mie no store enso so no nam say ye do ye hene ntino obi a mie ye nyina ko support no am ye nyina amade no ekọ kama nti na wo hene ne de ye ka say ye support no de a ye boa ye support no ye bu no
ka na say nana de me ka say de o mo anuan medical ka no nana ye bu no ana no kreni tumi nso ekuta no nso say dwumadi ba ye pa na mahunu say okuta tumi ko ye de o kumase ya na menhia wa nso na ye adwuma na je say tumi wona nansem pa nti masantima de meka se otumfo ne nkrofo nso yeta na chi akwa nyina mu anti na otumi
oko UK for instance omo use monarchy system ahemfo na eden edi on minus oko Swaziland so are the same thing say the edi abwam no munya nka ye practice that monarchy system na ahemfo na ebe religion
sa ofa ka be boy pa because if say ye nana kwa kura ya sanfo ye kana kura just we free mu nana status wo ye nema na asem bia nana beka bia mse bia santima akopim bia no yidi so na if obi kura no ho no obetran ye kuro ya kwa so di so say wo hene na kasa enyu chese tumi no eye adwuma ohun itikie nyane sa fa kepe because isi ye nana ka say obeye yi kuro ma siesie ne de do fa me nya sure say enu na say ya sound because me dika bia chi stick abo anim odo police master mpacho fa hawai stick abo anim so he must stick us de en kire say we say fa say afani bi di nam say tumi na wie bi eye bi enso first no fa kaze obesene ofrin besene itimo sa asante ahini no fa enye ize ye ne akase ye ne je papa me afri ba America kra ni no me ko mention ade ade no mani age papa hu say yes na ahini no sabi o ma asante ma peja na nkaka man de ko ahemfo no bedi na chi wa ande ofa ja ko na wo yes agina no hu say wani age and okay other region fo na kwa na o ma betena ikumase ya no o mutso ni age papa hu say bibi o ba bi
ga hini buga na nka yepe because you say so wahene ka asem a untimi nyina hwese president kra no amafo otimi je bedi na tem
ye ka didi attendance ye mi unso be edidi ewe atantini antem da
ofa ye ka asem ze wie bi na ye bi sebi ese botesofo nka na chese efiefo nka na chese botesofo me fa honko sebi ye nana no me metikem na wakasa against no fa mfa nchew because
where dey
me nana no me money na tem so wo no so bo ma me de so bo ma me because ni mo ye sebi
so uyi mu because sebi a obetima tinima ma ya president na obehwa ma yen ya
Bible say ani de said ye se no ohu sebi na wo ye panyini o ye ade na nyampanyifo ho mo ne be kasa me ya me fa say me nana no batim duna ni ma me ya na kwara it is the president there on the nation nyina na osom wo mo sa na wansu de ye yi kue be so won so ne da wo ma no akue no so ebu no penasem do no it no kaka say tia na a different from president they say won e hwe man nyina so na yire ya o si be po asem kwabena pe wasem say na you opposition and your minority on just say any ma bebrebe it no na yenso ye de ni bisa once because asantima mpon manso kwata hene bantama hene so wo mu nyina ko bantama hene ni ma we nana so wo mu nyina wo bedu na wa ntoma guya god say ebi de bia chilumba nyum no boy no
wo ni say mu ma memre no sa na etia na efe sa na say mu na bo hwahwa mo ho say mu de yetu no kama ya sum nyina
ade bia wani je hu bia ya ade a wo ye de wo pe ene frimpen fo so fetete eno makuta ahenie na besi samri ti nyame mpoku ametie na fe na me betuma say ade amena na ba yi amana di mu me betwetwo na se say enye efitete wo fa because me tete na kadwa be hin nkomo banko mu nyom na mfomo dia ba hin fie etina mra according to history no ko for no chi bo odwa no kire se dia akonya na ba be sini sire so no one be da mwano na se tu ni be sini sire so o na hin fo no do so no tese se je ye nyina tie na se ye kire bibi na se o mo aba ye tu we be ko ni mo na wadi nkunim dia se kufu adum die sa egu di mani mama mo di machi nyina asem ye menkura sa na ye It is ahemfo one nyinaa me fa say ne man nkra da almost wa hini wa he ofa who ahemfo bi otin say yes so sa wa hini nkra ko nanim na usuro so ha no hu say yes say to me wi ati me kra asante ahemfo na me hu bi sada say bodde wuri ni pa do bi ntoma ne ofa asante de nyame aboaye.
Well, indigents here in Asanteman have rehashed and re-echoed the essence and beauty of the tradition. I guess, Adwa, you're laughing watching right now. And if you want to also give us your thoughts on the Asanteman tradition, just log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook is News on TV3 and on Twitter is a News TV3. Thanks for watching, and I'm enjoying Asanteman already. I'm not coming back anytime soon.
The Ghanaian Times this morning says 2016 Auditor General's report accounts clerk embezzles 314,173 cedis at TI Ahmadiyya Senior High School. Government keen on tackling swine flu at Kumasi Academy, and ex-President Kufuor Lord Jospin's group's role in nation building. The statesman says government moves to tackle premix diversion and Tamale Stadium renamed Aliu Muhammad Sports Stadium. The Finder, CDD warns president, fight corruption now or forget about Ghana beyond aid. And government working with WHO to fight the swine flu. Today newspaper says 17 land guards arrested for attacking Kwabenya Queen Mother. Those are some of the stories I have with me on the newspapers this morning. My guest to do the talking, the Member of Parliament for the Adaklu constituency, a member of the NDC, Honorable Kwame Agbuja is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great.
Yes.
Thanks for your time with us. And then also Member of Parliament for the Asin South constituency, a member of the NPP, Reverend John Tim Fojo is also here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great.
By the grace of God, I'm doing very well.
Thanks for your time with us. Now, let's begin with this story captured by the Finder and the Ghanaian Times on page 11. The Ghanaian Times says that the Ghana Center for Democratic Development has charged government to seize the current pro-anti-corruption political movement to take decisive and concrete action on a growing list of corruption cases in the country. The government must take advantage of the collective public support in the fight against corruption to tackle pervasive corruption in Ghana. The CDD made a call at this year's International Anti-Corruption Day. Now, according to the CDD, it is urging stakeholders to unite in the fight and create a zero-tolerance approach to corruption. The center realizes government's commitment to fighting corruption goes beyond rhetoric and the mere setting up of institutions and enactment of laws. The center again says they recognize the weaknesses in some existing anti-corruption legislations, and so the center is of the view that sufficiently resourcing existing public anti-corruption institutions such as SHRACH, YOCO, and the Auditor General's Office, State Prosecution Department, and the recently enacted Special Prosecutor's Office will go a long way to fight corruption. That's the story so far. The recent Afro Barometer survey revealed that 64% of Ghanaians want corrupt officials prosecuted and stolen monies recovered and offenders named and shamed. That's the story so far. Kwame, let me begin with you. Good morning once again. So the CDD is saying that simply making laws, new laws, isn't the way to go. The center is suggesting that even these state institutions, SHRAJ, YOCO, and BNI and Co., when well resourced, can deal with corrupt acts. Is this call something new? I think we already know that.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished viewers, especially those from our Daklu constituency. Good morning to my very good friend, Reverend Fojo. Well, I think the call to ensure that we derive maximum value for money and to ensure that when public officials especially are given the opportunity to serve, they do so in a manner that does not lead us to lose money because, as you are aware, we don't have enough to do the things we needed to do. What is most surprising for me is that CDD is talking, other diplomatic or international organizations are talking, that contrary to the perception that these calls were specifically calls within the ambient of the NDC government, we can see the calls getting louder when NDC is no more in government, and all you hear the current government say that we are bringing the Office of Special Prosecution to deal with you for what you have done in the past. And the call that we can see pervasive forms of that happening today is not being listened to. It is much more even dangerous when you see the NPP rise to power partly on the basis of giving perception to the people of this country that there were so many things going wrong, and if they come, that will not happen. Yet, you can see a litany of them. The recent one, which you talked about, which they are now trying to say they're setting up a premix something. No, look, the minister appointed his brother, her brother, who is in charge of this repulsive activity, and both the minister and her brother are working free, and we are talking about bringing more laws and bringing more resources. That cannot be right. Fighting corruption is an action. It's not about statements made on platforms and other things. If this government actually want to fight corruption, by all means, punish those who you think have done things in the past. But the Bust matter should have been something that should be maybe one of the first cases at the Special Prosecutor's Office. The issues about the premix and many other things should have been things that the president and his men should be openly talking against. But guess what? They wash it out under the carpet, and then all you hear is like, we will be jailing you. It's as if fighting corruption is about talking about people who are no longer in government. At the moment, whatever happened in the past has happened. I'm not against anybody seeking redress, but that one cannot be stopped. What can be stopped today is the wanton, action that is going on. And I believe that on 31st December, when a day in my party's constitution, when we are going to hold to celebrate that, I would expect that speakers at that function would reflect on all those things, including what's happening today, and measure ourselves in what is happening from all this time and to today, to see whether we have actually moved on or we are capable of dealing with the issue of corruption. I have no doubt that this call by CDD and other things won't get anywhere, because the determination, the political will to fight corruption in this particular administration is about reflecting or focusing on what allegedly happened under NDC government. They have no interest in punishing or exposing their own corruption as it happens in front of our eyes.
I see. Reverend Fojo, so the CDD is saying that the fight goes beyond rhetoric, and so for the CDD, what it's been hearing, just talk and no action.
Good morning once again. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Good morning to Honorable Agboja, and good morning to our esteemed viewers. And I must also say that congratulations to the hardworking and dedicated teachers of Asin South District. Last week we held our maiden Best Teachers and Best School Awards for Asin South, and I was particularly enthused because I received all my basic education from primary to JHS to SHS, all in Asin South District. Perhaps if there were a university in Asin South, I probably may have continued. And so my congratulations also to the trailblazing initiative of the District Director of Education, Mr. Sally Nelly Coleman, the District Chief Executive, Honorable Ambrose, and the Regional Director of Education, all stakeholders who ensured that our hard-working teachers are rewarded. And I was glad to have come across some of my old teachers who taught me in JHS, who taught me in SHS, all rewarded. And I would want to encourage them that the hard work and the good work they are doing they should be encouraged to edge on, and all necessary logistics and motivation that is required, I personally pledge to ensure that that support is given. In respect of the CDD call that is being led by the Venerable Professor Jima Bodi, it's very important that we pay heed to those calls. Corruption has been the bane of the country for centuries, and it is important that every action that is to be taken assertively and decisively in dealing with it is supported. And I'm glad to note the research that has been published to the effect that 64% of Ghanaians actually support the prosecution of corruption cases and actually would want to see people face the law. And I think that is what we should be doing. And it's important to acknowledge that in jurisdictions, in economies where consistently year on year our budgets had been supported by foreign donors and foreign aids, and you come across the narrative of the financial losses to the states in excess of the deficits that is even financed by foreign donors. It is unacceptable. What it means is that if we were able to plug the loopholes and were able to seal all the seepages through effective anti-corruption methods and approaches, we would have been able to self-sustain ourselves as an economy. You recall narratives such as the 73 million corruption scandal that hit Senate, for instance, which Yoko thankfully investigated and unraveled.
It is an alleged corruption.
Yes, it's under investigation, and so far following it, the evidence coming and the progress being made, I mean, go to substantiate that a great deal of the allegation will hold substance in the final analysis. It is still being done, but it is a very good call to know that certain acts of corruption that had gone on, and here, you see, I have a problem when some people, seem to be uncomfortable when certain acts of corruption had to be dealt with. Of course, in dealing with corruption, one cannot say that corruption must be started just being dealt with today, going forward, glossing over anything that may have happened in the past. That cannot happen. So in every jurisdiction, anti-graft organizations and anti-corruption organizations and institutions are working not within a time bound. I mean, because there's no limit within the law that limits the extent to which the law can go back to investigate actions that are taken. And I always cite this example of the Israeli former prime minister who had to face prosecution for alleged corrupt indictment, even way back in his tenure as Minister of Trade. And he had successfully served as a trade minister and even moved further to become prime minister and subsequently resigned. But they were able to track, investigate. So I am here to submit that the agencies that we have, SRAJ, Yoko, NACAB, and all those other organizations that are helping the nation to recover monies that were lost through corruption and to investigate and actually bring to book and prosecute them that are culpable, are not for witch hunt purposes. They are to sanitize the system, they are to purge their system, they are to ensure that actions are taken to serve deterrence. And we come to the coming into being of special prosecutor.
These are the agencies that the CDD thinks that they are not well resourced enough to fight corruption. And so we don't need to make more laws, but rather resource them to fight corruption.
He acknowledged that wasn't the angle. The CDD acknowledged that whereas they welcome the strengthening of existing legislations and even the making of new laws to address corruption, it is also important, and they acknowledge that we resource the existing one. And I couldn't agree with Professor Jima Bodi more on that score. It is important that we resource them, because until the coming into force of special prosecutor, we've had certain existing organizations, and we've had the issues of corruption and the perception heightening, the past decades, and we've seen very little done. And just in recent times, we've seen Yoko The same Yoko had existed, and we've seen the very assertive steps that they are taking.
What are the assertive steps Yoko has taken to check
for instance,
corruption?
Well, I've cited, for instance, the Senate $73 million scandal. That translates to 335 million Ghana cedis. For the free SHS was funded in the first year at 480 million cedis.
Is anybody in court for the Senate issue?
Yeah, there's still under investigation, and I'll come to that point. Yeah. But I just want to, scan across that this and make the point that the 335 equivalent of the loss that is alleged to have been lost in the Senate scandal can fund the free SHS nearly for a term. The 120 million Ameri deal corruption that is perceived and is investigated and start on the Committee of Mines and Energy, where some of the processes of investigation and interrogations were being done, and the revelations that were coming up. $120 million in excess of 555 million Ghana cedis. There's a lot that the nation can do. All these are narratives.
Are your critics right when they say that when you mention these things and 11 months into your administration, you are yet to go to court on them? You're just talking. Are they right?
In one breath, I share the sentiment of the 64% of Ghanaians who cannot wait, who have lost, whose patience are running out to see corrupt officials actually being made to face the law. I share their sentiment that whatever that has to be done fast.
What is causing the delay?
To ensure, but I would have to, that's the point that I'll land on. That whatever has to be done fast. But it is important to recognize that in constituting prima facie cases against such allegations, the investigators and the prosecutors would have to do a very thorough job to ensure that the right evidence is put together to secure the right verdict. That's very important. When you have alleged someone to have been corrupt or to have engaged in financial malfeasance or financial misappropriation, you don't just go to court like that. You have to go through fact finding, getting evidence, so that when you finally hold the person before the law, you hold substance, and no consequent cases will be a thing of the past.
Most commentators of this government have already pronounced their Mary deal as fraudulent. What is stopping it from going to court?
The processes that these things have to go through.
What processes?
And the right processes, the first and foremost, this came for parliamentary ratification. And so the first step that had to be taken was the motion that was filed by Honorable Katie Hambon to impress on Parliament to rescind on that decision to ratify. That has implication, and that will trigger everything. Of course, we'll have to follow the rule of law. We'll have to go through the procedures, but we all must agree that whereas evidence is being gathered, investigation is being conducted, and the right evidence put together to secure the right verdict should the cases be called, we must also encourage the various institutions that are involved in the investigation to speed up. Okay. Now, special prosecutor,
wrap up
no doubt, is coming to augment.
We've wrap up for me. Kwame, I'm coming. Kwame, I am coming to you. Kwame, I'm coming. Reverend, please wrap up for me.
Yeah, we've had economies that are even on top of the anti-corruption fight. For instance, in the United States of America, who have embraced firmly the concept of the special prosecutor. Senator Coons, the last time he visited, we hosted him at IAA forum, and then he applauded the move for Ghana to take a step further in strengthening our anti-graft and anti-corruption fight by instituting the office of the special prosecutor. And here, Professor Jima Bodi has also called that every move that will go to strengthen the independence of these institutions and resourcing them
is the right way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, Reverend, I'm grateful. Kwame, a quick one.
A quick one. Look, CDD and others are saying, stop corruption today. And you are telling me CDD is applauding you of setting up Office of Special Prosecution. When CDD can see that this government doled out over 177 million Ghana cedi in the process of a bond, to hit their cronies without mentioning.
These are allegations.
Hold on.
No,
People,
these are allegations.
Hold on. He mentioned things. I didn't mention anybody.
Well, they are all allegations.
I'm saying keep your views. Keep your views. I'm saying that you have avoided the fact that CDD and others are saying stop the corruption in Ghana today, which you are supervising.
Which corruption?
And I've given you examples when you have a situation, when you have a situation when 107 when you dole out $177 million Ghana cedi to your cronies through various schemes who were part of the bond. When we sit here, the Minister of Fisheries, still in office, put her brother in charge of something that have become a global corruption in the fishing industry. You can't, I mean, don't you think that 66%, 64% of Ghanaians are expecting you to tell them that your government is going to make sure that either the minister or her brother are punished? You don't want to talk about it. When the stinking things that happen...
They have not been found guilty. It's just,
of course.
Hold
on. Is it me who is supposed to institute the process? No, it's the government. They are pretending that when you say corruption, it's in the past. So the stinking thing that happened at Boss has nothing to do with corruption. So this government is like an angel. They haven't done anything. And I'm saying that all those things, when we all know all these things, within 11 months, if you see all these things that have been mentioned every day, can you imagine if NDC were to be in power and the fisheries minister, a fisheries minister under NDC, appoints her brother to head premix, and Ghanaians pay tax? Don't forget, Ghanaians pay tax for premix to be subsidized, for it to become a gold mine, for card-bearing NPP members to be chopping nyafu, nyafu, nyafu. Imagine what these people have been saying. But once again, he's pretending, my good friend is pretending, that all that you have read right now, all they are saying is that CDD is happy of government passing a law on special prosecution, and they have nothing to say about all the things we are talking about here. You see, Ghanaians are not fools. They are watching, and they are watching whatever we say or this government does. And I'm saying that the President Akufo-Addo government doesn't have the courage to fight corruption. If they had it, they will not use the BNI to whitewash the stinking thing that happened at Boss and keep the guy there. They will not. By now, the president would have called the fisheries minister to order. First of all, sack the man who is in charge of that. Isn't it amazing? And why are Ghanaians not angry? How can somebody preside over that level of corruption in premix? The guy is still at office. What else will make us angry? The guy is still at office. He's not even under interdiction. This is where the problem is.
Yeah, right. Let me just, since my good friend Honorable Agboja has roped in the issue of premise and boss, I just want to quickly respond.
No, that is our next. Yeah, that is our next conversation.
But I just want to.
Okay, you go ahead.
I just want to point the fact out here that I agree with him when he says that we must prosecute the irregularities and the corruption that existed in Boss way prior to the appointment of the CEO. And these antecedents were there. And I always advise that if we do not hold before the court corrupt officials and past officials that were alleged to have been corrupt, until we hold them before the court and prosecute them for the 64% of Ghanaians to see that you cannot misappropriate the public purse and go scot-free, we would have my good friend Honorable Agboja and the many minority hold this posturing, you know, and the tables might likely turn. Oh, you are the ones that are corrupt. If we were corrupt, we dare you. Why don't you prosecute us? And that is the advice that I'm giving, that every anti-graft organization, Attorney General's office, the existing, institutions that we have, let them fast track the processes and let's prove the point to the 64% Ghanaians that your perception held was not false. And this corroborates, and let them receive some gratification, and let us see some purging of the system when they see these corrupt officials actually hauled before court and face the music of the law. That will be done. Now again,
that include the boss
premix.
Yes,
okay. Boss will have to be
let's go. Let me.
Now you want to shift it on anyone who is innocent.
On
premise issue, I must put on record.
Reverend, the question is that if there were irregularities, now that this government is in power, is it not incumbent on this government to just take this issue and deal with it?
We will come to the finality of it. Things are being done.
Are you not worried that the Ghanaian out there thinks that it has taken this government too long a time to really...
1 year.
The CDD says that there's too much talk about fighting corruption, that there should be action.
Yes, and I'm saying
how long does it take to fight?
I'm saying that much as I personally hold the view that we must fast track every processes and every investigative processes to ensure we actually hold before the court corrupt officials. I think that it's also important that we do due diligence, we do very thorough job, and investigations are properly done and conducted. And I do not think that 1 year is too long for certain actions.
Within which time frame should this government fight
we are
corruption?
looking,
Or should this government let Ghanaians see action?
We are looking at huge,
within which time frame
corrupt scandals.
Should this government see get people to see action in the fight against corruption?
I would say that Ghanaians must be rest assured that President Akufo-Addo is very poised. He is poised. He is not on the posturing of conducting political witch hunt. He has even stated that in his government, he will not countenance any act of corruption. And that if anyone even has evidence to the effect that any of his executive has misappropriated funds, immediately investigations will be conducted to that effect. But what I'm saying here is that on the premix specifically,
Reverend,
I did not interjected you on every count of
yes, Kwame, don't say. But Reverend, you have not answered my question. You said that
if you would allow
it is too early for government.
If you would allow me, I would answer.
To fight corruption. I'm asking, within which time frame do we see somebody before the court to indicate that government is acting?
What I said was that, much as I always hold the view that we must see the prosecution of the corrupt officials immediately, I also agree that 1 year may not have been a too long a time for one to say that.
How many years do we need to fight corruption? How many years should we see action?
Yes, and I'm saying
2
that.
years?
No, I will not give any time, but I'm saying that let us appreciate the complexities and the huge nature of the scandals and the corruption that took place, and see it has to be done properly. So there would not be any flavor of witch hunt. But let me land on the previous
even before he said corruption in the past.
No, Bright.
Even before you
said corruption in the past. Bright, it is fine.
No, CD didn't talk about corruption. But Reverend, even before before you move on, don't you think that if this government should wait till perhaps 2020 before we see real action in the fight against corruption, this is when it moves people to perceive that indeed, because we are getting to an election, this is witch hunting?
You know, of course, in law, there's a lot that happens, like what we see at the outcome will be a tip of the iceberg. There's a lot that goes on that is not often seen. There's a lot of investigation that is currently undergoing. I am only appealing that the necessary steps are taken and fast track, albeit they should do a diligent job. But let me assure my good friend Honorable Agboja that CDD did not cite a single act of corruption in this administration.
It didn't cite any in the past either.
Let the impression not be created. Now, let us also put in perspective that premix diversion has been an age-old, you know.
So you are continuing the age-old.
Okay,
it is.
I am
It is not by the
gentlemen, I am going to the statesman on this premix.
Let me land on that point.
No, we are going to
premix. I will not be misrepresented.
No, I am coming to you. Reverend, I am coming to you. The statesman has a story. Please let me read just 2 paragraphs of the story. Honorable members of parliament. Honorable members of parliament, please hold on. The statesman says that government moves to tackle premix diversion. Now, as part of comprehensive measures to halt the perennial diversion of premix fuel, government has formed regional monitoring teams to monitor the supply and distribution of the product. Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Elizabeth Na Afolikwe, has disclosed. So Central Region will have a team, Western, Volta, Greater Accra, and all other regions. And this is what is expected to stop the premix diversion. Reverend, is this really indeed a move to stop premix diversion?
Right.
Another monitoring team, when those that are already there are diverting the product?
Right. So long as irregularities are concerned, losses to the state are concerned, corruption is concerned, what is wrong, and what is inappropriate and unacceptable cannot be defended. Now, we've seen over the years how year on year premix diversion narratives have been given. How in the year 2016 alone, over 300 trucks diverted premix. And it is expected that if we've seen, experts have analyzed that the premix diversion that has been seen over the years are even worse than what we are seeing today.
Yeah,
but I would have expected to see that there will be a zero incident of premix diversion in this new era. That is what that is my personal expectation.
But it has not happened.
Yes, and that is my disappointment. But what I want us to all understand as a public is that when it comes to the issue of premix diversion, if one can conveniently do politics with it, one can conveniently rope in propaganda, but that is not going to solve it. It will still remain a canker as a society we must eradicate. And when it comes to some of these things, I would want us to be moving away from the politicization of everything that inconveniently people will just put in politics and deal with the situation. Now, the whole scandal and the whole let me put it that way. The whole scandal is reduced to, OMCs, having some arrangements, some collaborations or connivance connivance with the London beach committees. So it would have been so easy to track that these quantities of fuel were taken from this point, and then we're supposed to be delivered at this point. How much was delivered? Let's reconcile. That is so easy to track. But why, over the years, why haven't we been able to establish? Because there are some connivance and there are some, joint interests that have, triggered and actually exacerbated the situation. But in this year alone, 270 trucks have been alleged to have diverted, as against 300 trucks and over in last year. Whichever way you look at it, it is unacceptable. Right. Going forward, I expect that the 14 OMCs that the MPA has suspended and found them to some extent culpable in this scandal should not only be suspended, but they should be prosecuted.
Okay.
And again, the committees that has been set by the Ministry of Fisheries, the Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture, I find that commendable. So every region is going to have their committee monitoring to ensure that whilst trackers are being installed in the trucks to ensure how the tracking of the products, we also have on the ground people that are actually observing, people that are actually monitoring to ensure that these rots become a thing of the past. Okay. I would not want us to cross the year 2017 with some of these narratives. But again,
I'm grateful.
It is not a proud thing for one to say, oh, in NDC era, 300 trucks diverted, in MBP, 270, in 20 this. It is a canker that must be stopped, and I'm pleased with the
regional monitoring
steps that are being taken to address.
Okay, I'm grateful, Reverend. Kwame, so a regional monitoring team, is that how to stop this?
My brother, premix, unfortunate things under premix is no new thing, as my brother has said. It is also historically true that the committees, the organizations that monitor or handle premix are almost always politically influenced.
Party activists.
Exactly. And it didn't start from NPP in 2017. That is also a fact. So it is very difficult to decouple political parties from the rot in premix. Sadly for the fisheries minister, she decided to put her own relative
No.
In charge. Hold on. And you see, it is a simple.
The 300 trucks that were diverted was any relative put in there.
Reverend,
you can't.
You go on. If Mr. Bannerman is qualified to do the job, would it have mattered whether it is?
Hold on. What didn't these people say about the previous government? We have a situation today where the finance minister have more or less relocated his colleagues, in private sector. Hold on, I will say what I want to say. You can say what to the finance ministry. His sister, at TDC and all these things. So where I'm going is this: when you have your own brother, in charge of something, and has become a huge corruption, and you tell me that you are setting up, without sacking your brother to start with,
Then you are telling me that you are going to set up a premix committee in Volta region, which is made up of regional party people. What are you going to solve? Nothing. What the president needs to do is to call the minister and say, sack your brother first, put him under interdiction, let's investigate him. Because you see, we know what happened. The details are there. So this regional team wouldn't do anything. In fact, their party is happy, NBP party is happy because it's created an opportunity for them, so a few of them to get extra job in the premix business. It's not going to stop anything. If he talks about 300 and something trucks involved in that, by all means, punish them. But you see, CDD is saying that it is absolutely of no use to Ghanaians talking about premise 300 trucks diverted in 2016 when you have an opportunity to ensure not even one truck is diverted today because you came to power based on this thing. You see, when you go, and sometimes I do have clips of what they said. When the current president, bastardized us, that for instance, Kaswa interchange was inflated. And I am an industry, I challenge him. Show us the figures where the inflated prices go on. They didn't do anything about it. Cocoa Board, they say the same thing. Bring us the interim report. They said the report is out. The report is out. Yeah, of course, when the senior minister Reverend, appointed his friend,
if you can allow him,
you see, investigations are done by credible organization. When you take your friend to go and do investigation, of course, you give you the report you want. Bring on the report so that we see the missing road, the inflated contract. But let's come to premix. I'm saying that this new regional organization thing is a waste of our time. The minister himself,
even before I move on, so you have considered that the arrangement at the local level is not new as it was under the NDC, and it's not new today in terms of those who are handling it at the local level.
Of course.
And they are party activists.
I must tell the truth. Party people see that those are some of the things that they should also get involved in supporting government to monitor. But I don't think any party is interested in like diverting anything. But I'm saying that I don't know about the 300 diverted ones, and I'm saying that that's fine. But CDD is saying that even if they were diverted in 2016, it should have been zero diversion in 2017, exactly knowing that this government campaign on the fact that they will not tolerate corruption. So all that they are saying is that the difference between 300 and 270. So NPP is saying that they are 270 more corrupt, and then you see 300 corrupt. So that is what Ghanaians should buy. That is not what we should do. And I'm saying that this government doesn't have the courage to fight corruption because they themselves are involved in it. And in another jurisdiction that he talked about, the fisheries minister and his brother should have been answering questions by now. He shouldn't be the one saying she's solving the problem because she is part of the problem. That is what Ghanaians are saying. Fishermen are not getting the premix. We subsidize it with our money to be given to them. And it became a gold mine to NPP. And he's sitting here telling me that some regional groups in Volta region, Central region are going to solve it. When that group is just another, nomenclature of the same people that are handpicked by the same party, it's not going to solve any problem.
Reverend, are you aware that at the local level, the persons who handle premix are party people?
Fundamentally, I made my points very clear, and I'm sure that for the benefit of my good friend Honorable Agboja, I will have to state again. And I stated that with these scandals and the losses to the nation over the years, and even counting 300 and over and all the losses in excess of 50 million cedis that in the past was lost, I would have expected a zero loss. I would have expected a zero incident of premix diversion this year. Now, what we've seen here is not acceptable and cannot be defended in any way.
If it is not acceptable, another team now, that is likely... Reverend, you hold on.
You asked me a question,
yes,
and I'm answering.
Yes, you have answered my question. You have agreed, considered that those handling... No, you have considered that you said whatever happened is right. Means that those handling it down there are party people. Now, if that is the case... I haven't
said that.
They are not party people?
I haven't said that.
Those handling premix down there are not party people?
If you would allow me to... see, we have to take a cue from what the advice given by the Venerable Professor Jimabodi. that when it comes to some of these issues, I find it tantamount to corruption, and it must be dealt with in that respect, irrespective of which regime conducted it.
Okay, so
yes,
you're conceding that those down there are party people.
Honorable Agboja,
that's what I want you to answer,
has
so
said,
that we move on.
Honorable Agboja has alleged that to the best of his knowledge,
no, he's not alleging. It is a fact.
In their arrangement, he has presented that it's factual that in their arrangement they appointed party people to manage these.
So
things.
you have not.
I do not have any card.
The NPP.
I have not seen any card-bearing member of the NPP.
Right.
And I have not been involved in the appointment of these people to ascertain their party affiliation.
So those managing premix at the local level are not party people.
I can only make reference to the concession.
Reverend Fodjo.
Yes.
You are free.
So, you see,
Reverend Fodjo, he has honestly conceded that
yes.
the people managing
I do not know their party background. So I can
were party people. Are you suggesting that the people managing premix today at the local level
don't know
are not party
the minister's brother is an NDC member. Let me tell you, the minister's brother is an NDC member.
I do not know their party. I do not know these people that are in the honorable.
The landing build committees.
Yes,
they are not party people.
Is the minister's brother an
constituency chairman?
Now,
is the minister's brother an NDC member?
Reverend Fodjo.
Yeah, is he an NDC member?
Kwame, please. Kwame,
ask me a question and allow me to answer.
Reverend Fodjo, I just want us to clear this. I am saying that you do not know that the people who are managing premix at the local level are not party people. Is that what you're saying? You don't know.
You
can't speak to that. I am grateful. Now, if you can't speak to that.
In Parliament, Honorable Doyo read a statement in Parliament which suggested that their party executives
people watching us. That's why I am asking
made the chairman of the premix, the landing beach.
Let me submit.
Now,
that on
if the people working there are not party people, what is making it difficult? The NPA says we brought over 20 cases of malpractices to the Minister of Fisheries, and yet she did not act.
Because it's the brother.
What is preventing her from acting on what the NPA brought to her?
Because it's the brother.
See, I think you may have to advise Honorable Agboja.
I will advise him. Please go ahead. Honorable Agboja, please.
We've been here before. I enjoyed, the
okay, please go ahead.
The platform with him, but today he's in another element. But I understand when issues of corruption are mentioned, they are very agitated. But that
one is fine, isn't it? You laugh over it.
Reverend, please go ahead.
You don't want to be touched with corruption, isn't it? You guys are.
Let us put this in perspective.
Very interesting.
I've been following the developments on this, and then you hear one committee accusing the other, and then reprisal, accusations, counter accusations, which shows that certain committees and some of these institutions that I mentioned may be culpable to an extent. Proper investigation must be done so that the OMCs that may be culpable, the London Beaches committees are culpable. Any individual that is found culpable must not be shelved. They must be brought to face the music to serve deterrence, because we would not allow certain individuals or certain people and companies to continue the narrative that we are here to resolve.
Is she able to handle this?
I have no reason to doubt her capability to handle this unless proven otherwise.
Under her what the NPA said, we have brought you issues of malpractices, and yet she's unable to act. Is she able to now handle it?
When it comes to the issue of malpractice, you see, MPAA is the organization that does the regulation, and they are properly, armed to initiate any prosecution. And I do not think that once the
MPA says we did these investigations and brought all the documents to the Fisheries Minister. Up to today, nothing has been done. Today, we are told that the regional team is to monitor premix. Is the minister able to deal with the premix diversion?
And I've made a point again that all the regulatory institutions and the ministry that has oversight responsibility, any initial investigation that has been done and found some OMCs culpable and found certain individuals culpable, that was my first submission, that I do not just want to see suspension and people suspended from carrying out. I want to see prosecution. I want to see companies and individuals that have been found culpable not just ending there and being suspended, facing the law. And I mentioned that. And whoever responsibility it is to ensure that is done, that must be done. That has been my point.
Reverend, I'm grateful. Is the minister able to deal with the premix issue?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the minister as a person, I've met a couple of times. He's a nice person as a person.
I think the fact that the brother, herself and the brother have not been able to deal with it so far, I have no confidence she will be able to do it. But, Bright, before we go on, my good friend just made a very emphatic statement on it. I'm not sure whether you stand by the statement, that the report of the Cocoa Board review is out. Yeah, I'm not sure whether. Said, yes, I am the ranking member of the committee. I am still calling for a copy of that report. I don't know when it came out. I don't know whether it came out at an NPP function, because I'm not aware that openly the report is out. If he's giving us, telling the whole country that the report is out, he should tell us when it was outdoored and when the public would get a copy so that we can consume, because we know that the people who carried out the investigation were handpicked by the NPP. We are even finding out that they were not actually selected through any competitive tendering process. They were handpicked. How they were paid, we don't know anything of that. So we are looking for the report. But to conclude on the premise, my brother, I'm saying that every government that has ruled this country and its party folks along the beaches know that premix was something that party folks get involved in, and I'm not afraid of telling that. The party doesn't tell the people go and misconduct yourself in the management of premix, because the fishermen that support both parties, there's nothing wrong if they get involved in the management of that process. If we have the opportunity, I will say give them the opportunity again. What we are against is the malpractice that is going on. If he want to say that none of their parties members is taking part, I am not a reverend.
Reverend, you said you are not aware.
He said
I don't know. Yes, you said you are not aware.
That is what I'm expecting.
Yes, hold on. I will submit.
Yes, do not misrepresent.
Okay, I am saying.
Yes.
I am not even qualified to be an errand boy in a church. He is a pastor. I am saying that I know my party folks took part in the management of premix. He is from Central Region.
He said he's not aware.
Okay, he's from Central Region. He is a pastor. He says that he's not aware.
Let me tell you.
He's not aware that any party person.
Reverend,
he said you are not aware.
Yes, I said I do not know.
Okay,
and I stand by that.
Reverend, he's an honorable member of Parliament, and he has spoken. He said he's not aware.
Yes,
I am not aware.
So
if you want,
let's move on.
Let me.
I am Reverend.
No.
I will submit to you.
My brother, don't jump in.
Honorable members of Parliament, can we one another talk instead of the two of you talking?
No.
Can we have honorable members of Parliament?
My brother. Nobody has you are not indicted. You are not indicted in any way. No, you are not indicted.
I don't know their party.
Honorable members of Parliament, please, can we have just one of you talking?
About the pastoral thing. No, think that when you bring the issue of
I'm going to conclude. I'm saying that.
Reverend, please allow me to conclude.
I said that I don't qualify to be an errand boy at a church. He's a reverend. I don't come from a coastal constituency. I'm saying that I know that when we're in government, my party folks along the coast were part of the management of premix and other things. He is from Central Region and he's a pastor. He says he doesn't know. I will leave that to God. That I know from Adaklu that party folks, including today, NPP folks, are part of premix edition, and that my reverend, a good friend, doesn't know. We leave that to God. That's all I will say.
I am grateful. I have wrapped up. I'm going to this. I'm going to Daily Graphic.
Yeah, it is very fair.
Which one is fair, Reverend?
When it comes to the issue of pastoral,
no, Reverend. I don't want us to discuss that. I think you made emphatic statement that you are not aware that your party people are running premix.
If we had more of such, these corrupt issues wouldn't have been.
I am grateful. I'm grateful.
Talking about corruption.
Okay, Daily Graphic says that don't demonize profit-oriented businesses. Former President Kufuor. Now, former President Kufuor has cautioned Ghanaians against demonizing profit-oriented businesses, saying such actions would not help the private sector to thrive. He said even though the government would not tolerate corruption, people who were making their money genuinely should not be discriminated against or singled out for mudslinging. The former president made the statement when he joined the workers of the Jospon group of companies to mark their annual praise and thanksgiving service held in Accra. Now, that's a story in the Daily Graphic. Former President Kufuor applauded the executive director of the Jospon Group, Mr. Joseph Senior Japon, and said that he is a wonderful person. Let's, Reverend, just in 2 minutes, the issues of local businessmen getting the hits when they are perceived to be not to belong to a particular ruling government, and so the intention is to demonize them and kill the businesses. Ghana can cite several examples from the days of the Sangari soap to today. We can talk of RLG and the rest. The former president said, this is indeed not good. Are we able to stop it?
It is important to appreciate the fact that for every country to thrive, for the overseas and some very advanced jurisdictions have carved some narratives that we are always proud of. And we are always proud to narrate how certain companies have thrived 100 years, 50 years, 200 years, 150 years in some countries. We should also be getting there. We are 60 years as Ghana, and we should be proud to be promoting Ghanaian businesses and local entrepreneurs who would hold a narrative of having survived the times, having been established and grown and going past 30 years, going past 50 years, 100 years, and doing well. That is what I'm expecting to see. The environment, the business climate will have to be positioned to make it enabling and even very competitive for local businesses to thrive. And that is exactly what we've seen over the past few months happening. And it is important to put it in perspective that the business partisan dichotomy is always a very complex one. And there are various viewpoints. One, I must establish the fact that much as it is always the preferred that businesses must decouple themselves from politics, and that businesses must not be seen as affiliating with a certain political party. One must also appreciate that a business may be partisan, but so long as they are impartial, so long as they go through the due processes, so long as they are competitive, and in the way they do their business, in the way that they contract their contracts, in the way that they procure the businesses that they do, one may not falter them. President Donald Trump may not have become president I mean, he's a businessman, for a very successful businessman over the years. What is wrong with a businessman taking partisan interest in coming into politics? But the problem has been when people had been perceived to have used certain party affiliations to have influenced unduly certain processes. That is where the problem is. But here, I always maintain that there are very, very strong business entrepreneurs in Ghana that we must encourage and make them more competitive when it comes to the oil sector. How well are we implementing our local content? How are we making our local companies competitive? I started business at the age of 20. And I know from then to this, over a decade, I know the ups and downs and how difficult it is. How sometimes somebody just comes in, and just for the fact that the person is of a different skin and of a foreign nationality, the advantage that fundamentally, that other person is positioned. And so it's a societal paradigm shift that we all will have to engage in and ensure that we would have to encourage our own. We'll have to strengthen our own. We'll have to provide equal opportunities for our own, offer incentives that will make our companies more competitive. And in so doing, is strengthening them and to even further extend the competition beyond the shores of Ghana. And that is where we'll be proud. But again, my caution also is that businesses that may have may be exposed politically, like my businesses, for instance, would have to do things the proper way
so that they don't go against them.
So that we will not have such accusations.
President Kufuor's admonition not to demonize profit-oriented businesses.
Well, I like my brothers also said, I started my first company in 1996. That company alone employs close to 26 people today. And it tells me if he employs 20, I employ 20, you employ 20.
All MPs employ 20.
Exactly. We will probably employ far more than what government should do. Just Pond indeed started business
his business took off really under President Kufuor. And today, Jospon would have employment, even today, upon all the challenges he's gotten, is 3 times what the government proposes to employ under the 100,000, whatever you call it. Jospon, the number of people he employs today, this morning, is 3 times that. It tells you that if we strengthen private sector and not demonize them, we are capable of solving our problem. Let's put this perspective. Jospon actually took off under President Kufuor. He's probably started his business before President Kufuor became business. But he became more known under President Kufuor. I must concede, there were people in my party those days, my government, who when we came to power, had issues with Jospon. The wisdom of President Mills says that, no, this man is doing his work. If any part of his operations are questionable, deal with that part and allow him to do his work. Right. He continued working through President Mahama's government. The same principle. Somebody called Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, I've never met him personally before, have been doing things. He talked about oil and gas. This person, the president and the vice president, are now gallivanting the world looking for somebody to invest in mining, bauxite and other thing. This man and his partners have managed to start something in bauxite in this country. Political vendetta has made agencies who should be supporting Ghana private business have almost stopped the operations.
He's in court.
Operation. So today, we are going to China to bring people to come and take over the concessions that Ibrahim Mahama and his partners are working on the pretext that something went wrong. Right. And this is the government that is telling us that we want to bring private sector, Ghanaian-owned private sector. It is a farce. We are not honest in this country today. If I mention the name of the organization, private organizations around,
I'll get you the chance to
if I mention the name,
we're wrapping up, so
if I mention the name of the private organizations around, believe me, tomorrow morning they will be under attack because I speak against government. That is what will kill this country. But it shouldn't be. I believe Jospon and some of the operations he carries out must be commended. He's quite an astute businessman. Let's support him to do the right things that can make this country better. I don't support anything. If you allege that he does something that is not right, that is not part of my cup of tea. The right thing must be done, and I think he must be commended. He's probably the largest single private employer in this country. And what else can we do than to say thank you to him?
Okay, Kwame, Reverend, before I'll come to you to wrap up. Before we go, your party has cancelled the unity walk in the Bonafo region?
Well, I must say that I must commend the Brong-Ahafo, the organizers of the Unity Walk in Brong-Ahafo and the regional party for giving this huge concession. They did that on the fact that there's a date in our party constitution, which is the 31st December, which is an anniversary, which is being hosted in this year. And all members of parliament and the regional party are now members of the LOC, the local organizing committee. We want the whole country, the party folks, to descend on whole and to listen to us. We are also cautioning anybody who wants to contest any position. The whole program will not be a campaign platform for you to come and say whether you want to be president or not. That is not our beef. Go and get your own platform. It will be a peaceful and then a well-organized program that will reflect on where we came from and where we need to head to in the future as a social democratic party that cares about who gets water, who gets road, who gets hospitals in this country. So we are encouraging everybody to come, and I want to commend the organizers in the Brong-Ahafo region who have, just decided to cancel their program to allow the whole program to go on. Everybody is invited to go on the 1st of December to attend the anniversary.
All right, Reverend, you wanted to say something?
I would want to cite this personal example against politically demonizing local businesses. And I'm talking to what I have facts on. I had been running up until 2015, just 3 months after I won the MPP primaries. One of my companies that employed over 150 people, just within a month, I had a notification for my cash cow project to cease.
I see.
You see, this is a personal example. So the irony and the hypocrisy.
So it is real.
And 120 people had to lose their job just within a month. And for no fault for no fault. You see, some of these things, so I'm very passionate
President
about them.
Kufuor's call is in the right.
It's in the right direction.
I've never been paid since.
We must ensure.
Okay.
We must ensure that those things.
Since this government came to power, I've never been paid one city. They will have people.
This government, no.
It is very unfair. It is very unfair. All of you have issues.
It is very unfair that when
I am grateful. I am wrapping up.
I do not shout. So
I am wrapping up. I am wrapping up.
Those 120 have to go home.
I'm wrapping
up.
NDC. But he also saying that the same thing is happening to him under the NPP.
Of course. I can mention.
Has your contract been?
Yes, I can mention.
You're talking about payments.
No, I'm saying that apart from that, things that we built, projects that we built.
All right.
So having
Reverend Jonathan Fodjo is a member of parliament for the Asin South constituency, a member of the NPP. Kwame Agboja is a member of parliament for the Adaklu constituency, a member of the NDC. We are grateful for your time. Give us power capsules, relieves you from sexual weakness. It makes you a real man. So if you have constipation, waist pains, and several other things that you want to deal with, phlegms and menstrual pains, what to go for is Give Us P Power Capsules. Stay with us. We'll have sports after this. Welcome back. We're talking about agriculture, and perhaps this might affect you because some green pepper growers in Winneba in the central region have been rendered jobless after losing crops to spider mites and other insects. Others are also battling to control the mites often found on the back of the leaves. Lucy Ayambela reports farmers are unhappy. Government is not doing enough to control the menace.
Apart from fishing, vegetable farming, especially green pepper, is the second major occupation in Winneba and Gumwabewazi communities. For mid-year, vegetable farmers within the area encountered serious invasion of spider mites in their farms. The pests attacked the crops, making the leaves and the fruits brownish and smaller in size. They told us they are vegetable growers, particularly into green pepper farming, who have lost their crops to spider mites and other related insects. According to them, their creditors are demanding they pay back loans given to them. They complain traders usually buy at very low prices because their produce are affected by the spider mites at the initial stage. As some of the farms visited, some of the farmers had reduced the size of their green pepper farms due to the loss they are incurring. Jonathan Ado is a vegetable farmer who has laid off some of his workers due to the loss he is incurring as a result of the invasion of the spider mites. He disclosed that he has lost a greater part of his farm to the insects, leaving about 10 acres of the green pepper which has also gotten affected. He noted he has reported to the district agric office, but no solution has been given, compelling him to try several agrochemicals but still not yielding positive results.
Now, let's talk to the farmers because it's a very worrying issue. We also try and get to the Minister of Agriculture and see how best they can help the farmers. I have three of them in the studio. To my extreme left is Robert Kwanzaa. He's a farmer from that part of the country. In the middle is Jonathan Ado, and then Emmanuel Enche is to my immediate left. Good morning. Grateful and thanks so much for having moved from Winneba to come to our studios. Now, Mr. Kwanzaa, let me begin with you. When did this that we just saw on TV, when did it start? And how did you notice it?
Yeah, formally, it is this particular year we are experiencing it very greatly.
It's not, you just saw it this year, 2017.
Yes, sir.
And how did it affect your farm?
Yeah.
And how did you see it?
Yeah. Since we don't know how it was, so it took us unawares because we don't know anything of that.
You just went to your farm and you saw the insects on the crops.
Yeah.
And they were eating the leaves.
Just about after we have transplanted it, 2 weeks later, then we got to know that the crops are not yielding. So, what is going wrong with
the crops?
Yeah, so we decided to check it, and then we could identify very tiny insect, very, very tiny.
Stuck to the leaves.
Stuck to the leaves. So it will affect the leaves. The leaves cannot grow.
Like the leaves will look as if they are not getting enough water.
Yes.
So
meanwhile, we water it. We are giving a lot of fertilizer. We spray it. We do all that we can.
And yet you are not making any inroad.
The leaves are.
Jonathan, you also own a farm now. So the insects were eating the leaves, and because you couldn't find a way to deal with it, they were destroying your crops. Tell us about it. How did it happen, and what effort you made to get the insects killed?
We started. It started around May. We do the nurturing. After the nurturing, we send it to the secondary stage, and with that we realized within 1 week, we realized that the insects are affecting the crops.
Your crops were dying.
They were not dying, but the leaves are shrinking. So we've never encountered such problem before. So I was asking myself why. Even some of my brothers were saying that, oh, it's someone who is having just a bad eye. I said no.
They were reading spiritual meanings into what is happening.
Yes, so
some witchcraft has attacked their farms.
Yes, I told them that no, there is a problem. So one day I went to the farm early in the morning, and I just I put one of the plant and checked the root. There's nothing there. Before I realized, this insect, they were very tiny. They were attacking the leaves very serious. So all over, within 3-4 days, everything has spoiled. So I reported. I called one of a friend who sells agrochemist products. I said, I'm facing a lot of problems in my farm, and I don't know how to go about it. So this a friend came, and he recommended a particular chemical that I should use. I use the chemical, nothing is going well. And what I may say is some of the agric officers, they
all came in.
They are our friends, so I just called one.
You called them privately?
Yes.
That come and check what is happening to my farm.
Yeah, and he came. He said, which chemical are you using? I showed him the chemical I use. And he said, oh, let me talk with one of this plant protection agency.
Okay, maybe a senior officer.
Yes. So in a 3 days time, he said, oh, we should use this thing, neem tree. Neem tree. That's organic, this thing, ordinary neem tree. We should use some. I said, okay. Then I'll try a portion
and see
how it works.
You did, and it didn't work.
I did. It didn't work.
The insects were still there.
They were still there.
So all this while, these were private persons you know and you had reported. Did you officially report to the agric office in your area?
Yeah, I reported.
Okay, now tell me about
I reported the case
before I come to.
I reported the case to the agric director in the area. So he came there with some of the officers. We even called the municipal chief executive. He's also aware of it. I was in Accra in a 3 days time, and they called me, one man from Cape Coast and one professor.
Okay.
I don't know where he came from.
All right.
So they just came and recommended some chemicals.
Which you tried that one?
I tried that chemical.
Did it work?
I tried it in a portion. The portion I tried the chemical, it spoiled. That area spoiled. So
all the crops there die.
They die. So our normal chemical that we use, that place they survive a little. It's not going well for us, but at least that place, go well. Okay,
I come to you quickly before I talk to Emmanuel and Tilly. Let me go to the phone lines and speak to the Assistant Director in charge of Plant Protection and Regulatory Services at the Ministry of Agriculture. Patrick Bessa just joined our conversation. Good morning, sir. Hello, good morning, sir. All right, we're trying to reach the Central Regional Director of the Plant Protection and Regulatory Services Directorate of the Ministry of Agriculture to see how they can support these farmers get their crops back. But we'll rework the phone lines and get back to you. I'll come to you again, but right, let me try and see if Mr. Bessa is back now. Good morning, sir. All right, we'll get to him when he's back on the line. Emmanuel, so your farm too has been destroyed. Yes. Jonathan has told us of the efforts made to get the agric officers to come in. Now, it has not happened. So how much have you lost, and how is it affecting what you do?
My case is different. I was new in the system.
Totally new. A new farmer. Young man, you decided to go into farming.
Going to farm. I was trained. I did diploma in agric. And I find farming interest for me to go into. So I do some part-time job. I save around 5,000.
Can you speak up a bit for me?
Okay. Right. I save around 5,000. So I used to put into the farming. I buy my seed and do my nursery. So first after transplanting, 2 weeks later, I see that my crops are doing well. The next 1 month, got into the 2 months, I've just started harvesting. I see some insects under the leaves of my plant. I talked to a friend who was working in agric extension in Mofa. I was WhatsApp with me and I snapped some pictures to him. And he showed me some insecticides to go and buy. I bought the insecticide.
But when you were farm, you didn't bring any extension officer to come and help you?
No, because I was trained. I knew my way out.
Okay, because you are an agric student yourself. Okay, you hold the line for me. Let me try and see if I can get to speak to Mr. Patrick Besser again. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Grateful for your time with us. Now, Patrick, I am sure that you are aware of the plight of farmers in Winneba. Are you aware?
Yes, I'm aware.
Great. Now, what is happening there? Farmers are losing their investments. Which way can they quickly be helped?
No, we have a problem there which was misdiagnosed. The problem, the diagnosis they gave and for which they are using the product was wrong. Because they were saying it's a mite problem. But when we followed up to the field, we realized it was mite, thrips, which is not mite. Now, in the pest management or in disease management, if you are suffering from malaria and you are using collodium, you are not going to get the desired result. So they are using the wrong product because they misdiagnosed the problem. And when we went to the field, we told them, no, this is not the problem. This is what it is. And these are the things that we have to do. Now, it is our responsibility to advise the farmer what to do, and it is the farmer's responsibility to decide to do what it is he's supposed to do. So if you advise the farmer to do ABC and the farmer decided to do ZY, then that is the farmer's problem. Because we are there technical people to give them the advice. And we have gone to the field to realize that the problem they are talking about is not mine, but rather thrips.
Okay.
And we've given them the procedures or the measures to manage the thrips. But they are refusing to do it because they think they are previous agri farmers, agri students.
Okay, so
you may be an agri student, but you are not specialist in plant protection. You may be agri student in agronomy, you may be agri student in soil science.
Patrick, so you are saying that even when you had gone there and you have gotten to know that this is indeed the problem, you asked them to follow a particular procedure, and you said exactly. they are not doing it?
Yes, exactly. That's what they are not doing.
I see. Are your officers there?
Our officers are there. Even when I went there with my colleagues from the national office and from the regional office, we went there with the district officers. The last time I talked to your office, they were not working with the district officers. Even their lead farmer, whenever the district office called them, they don't respond. So how can you be blaming the ministry or the government for not helping you?
Patrick, hold the line. Mr. Hado, he said that he came there, his officers came there, they saw what was happening, they recommended certain things, and the farmers refused to obey their recommendations.
Yes, sir. I wasn't around. I was in Accra that they called me. Some officers has come to the farm. So what I did was, I sent one of my brother there. Normally he is the one who normally operates our tractors and our machines. So he was there with them, and they told him that we should buy a particular chemical.
Right.
They give us 3 chemicals.
To buy?
To buy.
Did you buy the
We
chemical?
bought them. We bought them. We bought the chemical. We used... The reason why we wanted to know that the chemical that they gave us works, we use the chemical in a portion. The farm, we have two sides of farm.
Okay.
And there's a road. So we use the other portion.
And what
we use the chemical at the other portion. And it didn't work. I called that man again.
It's okay. Ms. Addo, it's okay. Patrick.
Yes.
I'm sure you heard Ms. Addo suggesting that even the chemical you recommended did not work in the first instance.
Good. Now, if that is the case, as he is claiming, what you have to do as a farmer is to go back to your extension officer. You've recommended ABC to me. It didn't work. Let the extension officer follow up. Did you apply the way you should apply it? Did you apply it at the right time? Did you apply the right dosage? If you did all that, it is not, and he realized you've done as he asked you to do, then he has to go back and see, okay, which alternative chemical is available. But if you're fighting your cause in the media, I think you'll be losing the battle. Because
Patrick,
the media will not provide you with the chemical, the recommendation that you have to use. You have to go back to your district extension officers.
Patrick.
Yes, sir.
You do not also think that the extension officers can also go to the farmers? If they have provided a chemical, is it not right that extension officers do a follow-up to see if the chemicals are working?
That doesn't prevent the farmer from going back to the extension officer when the recommended chemicals were not working. The extension officer, yes, supposed to go, but look at the number of farmers to extension officer we have in the country now. So if the extension officer was able to give you a certain recommendation and you are not able to, it is not working. Nothing prevents you from going back to the extension officer, your recommendation is not working. Then he has to follow up again.
Is the directorate not worried that farmers are losing crops?
Directorate is not happy that farmers are losing crops. That is why we are on the ground to provide them with technical advice. And
so,
if you are giving you some advice and it is not working, it is your responsibility as a farmer to go back to the institution, and the institution will do a revision and see where things goes wrong. So it could be that the farmer didn't apply the chemical as the way he should.
So you know now.
When I went to the field, can you give me a chance? One of the things we realized was the underdosage of the chemical because they were trying to economize. If you are to use 80 liters or 80 mils, and you are using 40 mils, you want to economize, you are building up resistance in the pest.
Patrick, you know now that the chemicals you recommended are not working.
Hello, you cannot conclude that it is not working. And I just told you, the farmer claim it is not working. He had to go back to the extension officer. The extension officer then will just evaluate the procedures he used, whether he applied it as he should. Before you can conclude that it is not working.
Can I come in?
You cannot be sitting there and say it is not working.
Okay.
We don't do it like that. There is a procedure that we have to follow.
Patrick,
hello? You
just told me early on that if they have applied a chemical and it is not working, they should go to the extension office. And I'm asking you, this morning, you are aware that they are claiming that the chemicals that were recommended are not working. I am asking you that, is it not possible to send extension officers to these farmers?
I've just got to know that, yes, this is what the farmers are claiming, but I cannot just still on the line direct the extension officer to go to the field. I have to finish this.
I am not asking you to direct them to TV3.
That this is what the farmers are claiming. So follow up and see what is happening.
Okay.
We don't just sit down and say farmers should do their own thing.
So this morning, at least...
If the case, we wouldn't have followed up to the problem where we were not even given we saw the problem in the media and from the head office straight to the farmers field. So that should tell you that we are concerned of what's happening to the farmers.
So, Patrick, we want to conclude this conversation. Are you assuring us that at least when you get off this phone line, you get the extension officers to at least go check what is happening?
The extension officers will be informed, but the farmers should also work with the extension officers.
I'm grateful for your time. Patrick Bessa is the Assistant Director, Plant Protection and Regulatory Services at the Directorate of Agriculture there, talking on the phone lines. He seemed to suggest that there is something wrong between the farmers and extension officers. Is that the picture? Let me speak to Emmanuel first. Is that a picture that you farmers are working, you don't want to work with agric extension officers?
It's not true, because external official will come and recommend a chemical to you that you should use it. And the chemical is not working. You have to find your way out because you are losing. You invest money in it. You have to find your way out.
And that it paints the picture that you might not be working with the extension officer. Let me go to Mr. Kwanzaa. So, if the suggestion that the extension officers, there's some kind of a fight, let me put it that way, between you and extension officers, is that the case?
We can't say it's a fight.
You are fine with extension officers?
Yes. But we are here today purposely to sell our problem out. Not that we are wanted to attack them or telling them that they are not working. But we want to sell our problem out.
Because you're not getting results?
Yes, because here is a very big platform. Maybe some company or institution or one of the chemical products can hear our
and come to
our aid, and maybe appeal to the government to come and assist, like the way this army worm attacked the maize farmers. Yeah, so we are appealing that the government to maybe can address with the vegetable farmers so that if
you can find solutions to your problem.
Yes.
Ms. Ado, quickly come in, let's wrap up. So what do you want done for vegetable farmers?
Yeah, what I want them to do is this national issue that we are talking about, not Winneba alone. Not Winneba alone. We are talking about national issue. Because when you go to Begro, Techiman, Santi Mampong, Santi Bakwai, all over, this year, a lot of people, even Accra here, a lot of people face such problem that I was talking about now. And the way our brother or our father was talking is not order to attack them. They came to my farm. They recommended a chemical for me to use. I used the chemical. I called back. They recommended another one that I should use, how do you call it, organic product. So they gave me, they brought one neem oil, neem extracting oil. I used them and it's not working.
It didn't work. So all that you're asking is for help to get your crops.
Yeah, we are here to let's say sell our problem out so that if there will be an expert to come and pick a sample from the farm.
All right.
And
I'm grateful for your time with us. Jonathan Ado is a farmer. Mr. Robert Kwanzaa, to my extreme left, is also a farmer. Emmanuel Ntie is a young farmer who is ventured into farming and is facing some challenges. They are pleading for support, help to get their crops back. Get to us if you can lend that support. Stay with us. There is more after this.
Welcome back. So you've been hearing a lot about swine flu because recently we had about 4 students dying from H1N1 in Kumaka. So certainly we have to talk about it. How do we prevent other people from also being infected? What exactly was done at Kumaka to curtail the situation? What is being done currently in terms of fumigation? So we understand a bit better about this whole swine flu situation. Speaking to me, I have Dr. Bedu Sarkodie. He's the Director of Public Health at Ghana Health Service. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Welcome to NewDay on TV3.
Most welcome.
So, there were some deaths at Kumaka resulting from swine flu, and some parents have, blamed the Ghana Health Service or the health system for not really taking control of the situation to bring it under control when it started, and also they blamed the schools. What really do you think is the situation? And rightly so, do you think the health system should be blamed?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished viewers. Indeed, issue like this, blame is not you should not place it at the foremost. No. As much as possible, the health authorities got information on this outbreak on that whole day, Farmers' Day, 1st of December. And as soon as we had the information, we mobilized all our apparatus and mechanisms to move in quickly to provide the necessary support. What had happened earlier, at that time that we had the information, 2 of the students had died. The circumstances surrounding the first death, he started symptoms of fever, headache, general bodily pains, including neck pain, and then went to the hospital. Within a short time, about 3 hours on admission, this student died. Unfortunate. Our condolence and sympathy to the relatives and then the parents and school authorities. The second one, within about a few minutes or so, hours after that, he indeed died, almost died dead on the school infirmary. Not that they detained the child. He went there and he felt unwell, and within a few hours, a few minutes, as they were getting ready to provide the necessary support, he was found almost dead. They started referring the mechanism to refer to the hospital. The designated hospital is KNUST Hospital. And this student reached the school dead, the hospital dead. So those were very quick, and it's unfortunate. And what do we do next? We will come back to that. The school authorities, they had done what they could do best based on what happened in April this year, which has been observed to be a bit different from what we are observing now. Clearly, people are counting, and they say 11 students died. At that time of April, the clear confirmed diagnosis for the outbreak that we were dealing with was meningitis, and the subtype C was confirmed in 2 laboratories, one at KCCR and then one at KCCR, Kumasi Center Collaborative Research, and then also at our National Public Health Reference Zonal Lab in Tamale. And even further went ahead and do nasopharyngeal carriage in the throat of the contacts. And we again confirmed the germ in the throat of some of the healthy students at that time. And that was the rationale behind giving them the necessary dosing to clear the throat of the carriage so that they don't also become the next source for transmission. And all these things have been done. And based on that, the school infirmary was being manned by nurses. But this time, we added physician assistant to complement the and enhance the school health within the school. And then when this happened, within a short time, arrangement had been made to add a medical officer to support in the case management. Based on what happened earlier in April, mechanisms have been taken to link the schools to the designated hospitals. Because what we observed was that the deaths that occurred in April, all of them, no 2 went to one hospital. They went to about 7, 8 different hospitals. And the report was not coming back to the school, and it was not getting to the health records. So issue of clustering was not registered. So you realize that this happened, and that is why the health sector system in April delayed in knowing that something was going on in the school. So there's a need to link all schools, all second cycle institutions and all boarding schools in the country to designated hospitals, so that if the infirmary needs to refer, they refer to a particular focal point, so that the records will know, and if something is happening, you pick it early. So all these things are being done, and I think we should be commended than being blamed.
Very well. You may be commended, but Dr. Bedu Sarkodie, looking on hindsight, do you think that our emergency response system is working enough? Because currently we hear one child died from cerebrospinal meningitis in Koforidua. So we're hoping that the same mechanism with which we attended to H1N1, and if possibly a more rapid one, will be attributed or given to those in the New Jabin district, so that if CSM was to break out now, it will be curtailed before it spreads beyond that one person who has died.
The issue at the Koforidua that you're mentioning is not linked with the one in Kumasi Academy, but then they are all students in boarding facility. And as much as possible, when if you are talking about delays, does it mean the person reported and the necessary health that was required was not given? And indeed, for all of them, the necessary support and help required were provided. And the one at Koforidua, as you're mentioning, well, meningitis is endemic in Ghana.
It is.
The whole country. The 3 northern regions were designated as meningitis belt. It's part of the meningitis belt of Africa.
Yeah.
And every year, starting October through to the next year, March, we watch closely, preposition logistics, and make ready to pick any emergence and respond to. So we are watching very closely, and realize that the meningitis belt is drawing down, and that will mean that our preparedness and response mechanisms should also have to be expanded.
Certainly.
And mechanisms are in place to do that, and we are doing this. So as much as possible, for now, preparedness is a process. Where we have reached, I think we don't have all, but we learning and moving ahead and make sure that at any particular time we get what is required. We're not optimal for now, but then what we need to put in place to get more and pre-position logistics, provide the necessary funding support, train staff. We have trained adequate rapid response teams at the national level. And then we have started mechanisms to support the regions to also train rapid response teams at the districts also to function adequately.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Bedu Sarkodie. Tomorrow we'll have you back on set to discuss more about swine flu. But that's all we have here, guys. We'll see you same time tomorrow for more on New Day.